And back watching the full view here on SABC News Channel. The United Arab Emirates has rejected South Africa's request to extradite Atul and Rajesh Gupta to stand trial for state capture crimes. South Africa filed the extradition request in July of last year. The Justice Minister Ronald Lamola has described the lack of cooperation from the UAE as unprecedented in the arena of extradition requests. He says South Africa is going to appeal the decision. For more on this, we're joined by Dr. Kingsley Makhubela, who's a risk analyst and former diplomat and public relations executive. A very good evening to you, Dr. Makhubela. Thank you so much for speaking to us. So I want to just look at some of what the Justice Minister cited. He was at pains to say that all diplomatic channels were exploited in the request for extradition. Was there room, though, during this whole process for the Ministry or the Central Authority of Justice to request that our ambassador or other deployed diplomats be informed of when and how the process will unfold, and that we even be present at the hearings?
Sabiso, it's normal for a diplomatic mission, and in this case, I don't know what happened. It's normal for a diplomatic mission once there's a certain activity that has been instituted, in this case, extradition request, that they would follow all the details, the proceedings. They would send somebody to sit there to listen and to inform head office about what transpires in the court case. And of course, they have to make relations even with the prosecution to understand if the case is postponed and what's going on. In this case, we don't know what happened. Was DECO asleep when these proceedings were taking place? And this comes, Sabiso, within the background that in the last few weeks, actually, there have been rumors that the Guptas are actually not in prison. This was circulating on social media. Even Sunday Times, I think Paul Richardson wrote an article about a week ago, saying that the Guptas are requesting for an asylum in the Cameroon and the Central African Republic. So information was out about them not being in prison. And all of a sudden we hear that the Emirates has declined the request for the extradition.
Now, we understand that, or at least this is some of the views of some legal analysts saying that upon the extradition request being denied, the Guptas then would have been free to travel. South Africa, through the minister, saying that they were only informed yesterday. So I'm just wondering what would have failed. I mean, what would have changed? Had we made a request that we be informed of every stage of the hearing, would we have been better off? And particularly given the fact that the red notice by Interpol would have also, at that point, have run out in terms of timeframes.
Tsepiso, according to the reports, if indeed the Gupta were released sometimes in February, and we only learned about this on the 6th of April, it raises serious concern, actually. Why did the Emirates take so much time before they could officially inform us about the release? And once the Gupta had been released, they should have immediately informed us. Let us assume we were not there. They should have immediately informed us of the decision of the court to release the Gupta, even before they are out of prison. Now, the fact that it comes close to 2 months later, it raises a lot of questions about our relations with the Emirates. Why did the Emirates take so long to inform us? That's one fundamental question that we need to deal with. Are we getting a true story of what transpired? Or is the government, our government, economic with all the details about the release of the Gupta.
And this is what I'm wondering, Makhubela, because we had in 2021 the Justice Minister already lament the lack of cooperation by the UAE on UN conventions signed by both parties, particularly in terms of this extradition treaty. So is that indicative of weak bilateral relations or that of multilateral institutions of the enforceability of their treaties? Because if government tells us that it was the concurrent, if I can put it, that the requests because of the charge sheet that led to the request being denied, I don't understand, especially if there was cooperation between the two in ensuring compliance.
I think we need more details from our own government, SABC. Because remember, the Guptas were also naturalized South African. Now, how can a foreign country keep naturalized South African forcefully? There we need some level of explanation that really ought to come our way. But the red alert has elapsed. Was the intention really to let the red alert of Interpol elapse before releasing them? Now there are all sorts of rumors that they are in Vanuatu, a Pacific island of close to, I think, 320,000 people. Some rumors are saying they are in Switzerland. We really need to know exactly what happened. The Emirates would know what was their departure destination. They should have those details. I don't know if we've been given details about this. Is it a reflection of poor bilateral relation between ourselves and the Emirati? I don't know, because we've had high-level delegations going to Emirati from our side, which gives the impression that we have solid relations with the Emirates. But as to what transpired in this case, I think there are more questions than answers. And I think we need more answers from our own government to answer some of these questions that we are all having.
Well, we certainly do have our eye on it and hopefully our finger on the hot button issues on who should be held accountable, as the ministry and the NDPP declined to respond to this, saying that everybody has done what they could. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your insights. Dr. Kingsley Makhubela, a risk analyst, former diplomat and public relations executive.